Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. All right, it is another fun-filled week. We're halfway through it now. It's Happy to Hump Day. It's Wednesday. So, what's going on, traders? I saw they did the transaction tax in Asia, and wackadoodle smack like 2.5% down in most of the Asian markets, or two and change. You can see here in the States we're bouncing back from the adventure of yesterday. They sold it down hard yesterday, and sure enough, it came right back. I mean, there's so much money on the sidelines. There's nowhere else to go when you have 18 trillion now, not billion or million, but 18 trillion parked doing nothing. That's a lot of money. I heard a statistic that said that pension funds in the States need a 15% return to survive. And so if that's what they need, then obviously the Federal Reserve is going to make it happen. And so that's, just another part of the puzzle. I mean, why do these things go on? Because government has gotten their hands in full control of the financial systems now. Even a Clintonite came out and said something last night about America's turning totalitarian under Mr. Biden, and she is a Clintonite. So anything is possible at this point in time. The reality, the loss of logic anymore. I mean, just the whole thing is it is everywhere. So anyway, let's just go to the real stuff, like beautiful numbers. Beautiful numbers. Here's our quant mathematics, and it's always beautiful, and it's always cool, and it always gives us the best direction of anything out there. And you can see here, this is the Swiss against the dollar, and it's up again. So obviously they're buying dollars. Now we can take a quick peek over here at the euro like that. You can see euro is kind of firm, kind of fighting that, isn't it? But when it comes to the Swiss, they're buying dollars and selling Swiss. And in cable, same situation. Yep, we got to our top side of that range we've been looking for, the 142 and change. And right now it's trading, actually it looks like it fell down from there, which is kind of interesting, like a whole 100 pips after hitting the top end of that range. So we're back in the saddle again. This is where we should have been without all the crazy Brexit and so forth, and the paranoia, and the world's coming to an end, and England will starve, and there'll be the island will partially sink, all kinds of other things like that we say here doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's where we see it. We can see it here. The dollar is firmer. It is firmer, and I guess we can basically take a look at the interest rates and how they're yielding, and the interest rates themselves are fighting it out also at the same time. Let's take a quick peek of the 30-year. And there is the 30-year right there at low. Is that lows? Let's give it a refresh. At one point it was at lows. Let's put it that way. Yep, at the lows. And so the pressure is on. Interest rates, when this goes down in price, interest rates rise. Okay, so you're buying a bond, and when the bond's price goes down, interest rates are rising. Yeah, relatively easy to understand. I know if you have to think about it, it's hard, but so forth and so on. But yep, that's the action we see. That's the action we know. And that used to be, back in the old days, that was part of the governing process of when you bought a currency. You bought one currency versus another currency. Those were the pillars, the combination of inflation and interest rates, and as we're pointing out here, and employment and producer prices and CCI. Just all the stats that we paid attention to have close to no relevancy anymore, because of what I suggested earlier, and that is, I heard a stat this morning that said if the pension funds are not making 15% right now, they will go belly up. In other words, they'll go out of business. So the pension funds need the teachers unions and the public service unions need that. They've been spending their income or giving out, I guess you could say they were giving out retirement money at a very high rate. And so that's the part of the reason we have a quantitative easing. That is literally a third of the reason we have a quantitative easing. That's why QE exists, is to keep those funds and banks and institutions like a Lloyd's of London or a HSBC or a Citibank or a Santander, or we could give you another half a dozen of them, in business. And that is the magic of it all. All right, so let's drift back over to the currencies. And so you can see here, dollar's firm, and when looking at it in one particular pairs right there, you can see it's just a little bit firm there. A weak dollar's weak right there, just weak. And then I guess you could say when you look at the cable, they popped it up big, and now it's almost back down again. They took out our top end of the target, which we've been suggesting now for months upon months upon months upon years, and we finally reached it. And it's been, when you go back and look at the cable, let's do it on J4X. J4X is a little bit easier to show it on a more longer term view. Right there. Bing, 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 bing. And so you can see here, how it's been in that nice big long uptrend. We talked about it when it went into the weekly buy again. Every time we would go into a weekly buy over the last couple of years, we said, okay, start looking for that 140.38 to 142 area. It was a magical thing. And you can see 19 weeks ago, we went into the buy. So we can highlight that right there. We went into the weekly buy, and each week it went by past, we thought, okay, maybe it's going to drag itself finally to that target zone. And you can see here in the middle of October, we saw it down here in the 130s, and we thought, okay, yep. Now again, we're thinking where, when someone would say, where can this go? I said, 138 to 42. Now someone was in here in the beginning of the week, Daniel, I don't know who it was, AR. Someone was saying, can I get long it? I was like, you can see on the fact check spreadsheet right there, 13 days in a daily buy. So, if you're going to buy it, obviously it's on weakness, of course. And so, my always opinion is, if it goes back down into a sell and back into a buy, yeah, jump on it. I'm not really sure if that drift, that big little spike down yesterday was there. If it was, then it was a great chance to buy it. But that's what we're waiting for to see, to get, if you weren't long it from here, there's no reason to try to buy it in here. It could roll over at this point. We hate to get into the middle of a trade. We like to start it off originally. There's the weekly buy, and then each of the daily buys have been, successful wins. I think something like 7 out of 9 or something like that. And so, it's, with good money management, in other words, a stop and so forth, or depending if you're using binaries or options, it's the best way to be on top of this. Now, if you're trading options, as I said to the individual, well, that's a whole different game. You can be long it because you know what your risk is already, and you don't have to worry too much about it. But if you're just getting hard delta, the next thing you know, you're getting stopped out. And imagine 2 days ago when they asked, imagine if they got long it anyway, and then they got stopped out off of that wild spike down. And now they're looking at it and it hits the top of the range. They're probably like, oh man, I hate that. That's what's great about options. It stops that stop situation. You don't get knocked out of your position. And so that is the magic of that little island off the coast of Europe is going to be, as they like to say in real estate, location, location, location. And so to a great extent now, it's going to have some great location. It's going to be able to supply Europe when people in Europe want to pay up for whatever it is. At the same time, they're going to be able to transact with the Commonwealth, which is about 1.5 billion more people. So what they're doing, in essence, with Brexit, in my mind, it seems relatively simple, like Paul Dirac, in physics. It's beautiful math. It's simple, and that is you've just picked up a billion and a half clients. How can you go down in value? That's the way I look at it. And so you've just picked up a billion and a half clients again, whereas being part of the European Union of a half a billion, we're blocking you from being involved in those markets. You would want it the other way around. You want the billion and a half to be friendlies instead of outcasts, and then let the 400 and some odd, the 500 million in Europe be the outcasts, and they'll find a way to buy what they want to buy. If they want to buy Rolls-Royce engines, they'll buy them. In other words, there is such a thing as that's so good that I have to buy it. It doesn't matter what the price is, and that's the truth of it all in the end. All right, let's zip over to Turkish Lira. As you can see here, it's marched up for the last couple of days, and look at that today. The white line is piercing the negative or the nonlinear negative side of the time manifold. So it's flirting with it at the moment. How about that, huh? Just dancing along. Little strength here. We haven't seen the white line this high since it went into the weekly sell. We haven't seen. Matter of fact, that's the first time the white line has actually pierced the time manifold. So that's pretty cool. We'll see how that goes. See what that brings us. We don't really see a lot of chaos going on with the Turkish lira, but after a run from 1.5 to 8.5, you would think that it could find a way to get back into at least the sixes. A 1/3 retracement type of thing. That would be the most logical. Hey, Robin. I didn't listen to Mr. Rogers, but I did see it on the front page of. Unfortunately, I was into Paul Dirac this morning more. Paul Dirac, a theoretical physicist, probably equal to Albert Einstein, just a little bit younger, born in 1902. I've been Diracing it since like 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here. So, is it blocking it? Let's do that. Let's fix that. Thank you for wicking me up. And there you go. Yeah, look at that. First time we're seeing the white line pierce since it went into the weekly sell up in here. So I'm into Paul Dirac today. Today is a Dirac day. Alrighty. So there's Turkish lira. So what we'll do is we will mosey on over to the Canadian right there. Usually Canadian that work together, but notice this is going down in value, and the Turkish lira is trying to rise, which is, usually, like I said, they had a habit of moving together for a long time, but they seem to have stopped that. This down movement, you would think, would connote strength in the oil sector, and we'll take a look and see what the NASCAD looks like, and then we'll go to the oil sector. Yeah, and there's the NASCAD. That's the loonie trade, and that's looking very firm also at the same time. So now, without ado, we will roam over to the crude oil. And it is right there. And it's firm. It's definitely climbing, that's for sure. Making new highs. And that is the action of it all. The currencies are giving us a little insight here that there is some buying going on there. So now that is the crude oil. Let's go through the oil, the little teeny weeny oil sector that we're watching, and we'll take a look at the natural gas, which has been finding a way to go down. And there it is again. Now it's basically back to here, and it wouldn't allow us to get into a buy out of that whole thing. It really fought this whole move. I guess it's the time of year. I guess natural gas traders think, why in the world would we buy that? I guess just to deliver what had to be delivered and then run, like Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, run. And natural gas is now drifting right back to square one. And at the same time, we can see we are actually flirting with a weekly sell. So it's that time of the year where, and we're going to be almost 60 degrees Fahrenheit today, which is like 16, 17 Celsius. At least a 15 area Celsius. So, and that is probably going to be the magic of it all. We're finally coming to the end of the winter here. And, the energy traders are not willing to really build inventory. So that will be the battle that goes on. Alrighty. Let's drift over to, let's see, that is energies. Let's take a look at the metals. See what they're doing in the metals today. Just took a sip of my tea there as I did that. All right, now there is gold. You see gold is fighting to stay firm in here. And let's give it a refresh. It's holding up. And while we're visiting gold, and let's save that, let's take a look at the platinum and see how our spread is doing today. We don't have anybody following platinum at the moment. And let's put platinum on, what we'll do is we'll put platinum up here and then we'll put gold on J4X. So we'll go like that. And there's platinum. Activate. And let's put gold on J4X. Right there. You can see gold trading at 1807. You can see, let's give this a refresh. And you can see platinum trading at 77. So 78 now. You subtract 1278 from, so what does that say? It's 22. So it's a 29. So we're looking at 529 for the spread. So it's kind of hanging around the 50 percentile, I guess you could say, at this point. That's what's really happening there. And it did fight its way into a sell yesterday, and now it's fighting its way right back into the buy again. And that long weekly buy has been going on since November. And we've seen the spread now go from $1,000 to 500 and basically $30. A winner chicken dinner. Now, let's take a peek at silver. The rip your face off potential rally product. And you can see here, hanging in there on a buy. And, oh, that's right. It's a 2 here. That's what that is. There we are. And so you can see here to strengthen that, it's not really going anywhere, but they're not selling it. That's kind of cool. And every time you turn around, you see these stories of rip your face off, rally in silver. Now, boy, I'll tell you, if there's a rip your face off rally, it's been in the copper. The copper's really shown incredible amounts of life in it. Let's put the silver there like that. There we are. And then here it is. This is your rip your face off rally in copper. Let's give that a refresh. Yeah, that's today. It's lifting back up again. I guess we can raise that box up a little bit more. So we just keep that box up because where it went into the weekly buy, just for interest sake, just because of the way it's been climbing from the 260 area to now the 420 area. And that's your rip your face off in copper move. Imagine if silver would do that. You would be talking like, what's that, 360 to 420 is 60 cents. And if you saw that same percentage move over the same time period, let me just save this. Let's see if we can find it. There it is right there. There's silver. I mean, silver over the same time period. Silver was trading at 27.5, basically. 27 even. And now is trading at 28, 27.89. So, yeah, I mean, if you gave it the same percentage move, like a 25% move, you're talking about, what is that? That's like, $33, something like that. And this thing is barely moving. That is the Silverado. Alrighty. And that is the metal sector. Now, usually what we do is we slide over to the stock indices. And again, we talked about that in the beginning of this webinar. Why we have quantitative easing? To keep the funds, the banks in business, the brokers that were left in business, and the pension funds solvent. And that's why we have quantitative easing. So, I guess, us being an older trader, I can say this. If you would have told somebody 10 years ago that Lloyd's of London would go out of business, you would have been like, well, then the whole world's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Or Merrill Lynch was going to go out of business. Again, the world would be coming to an end. And obviously these two entities are not independent anymore. One's owned by the Exchequer, the other one's owned by Bank of America. It was one of those convenient marriages that the Federal Reserve pushed together. So, that's what quantitative easing is all about, is to prop up all these entities. Let's see now. All right, so no questions so far. It's been really quiet. So let's take a look at the millennial index itself, not because of age, but because it's the technologies we use to keep our society moving forward. And you can see it right there. We don't need no stinking sell, right? Look at this. It's playing with a daily buy already again. Even what's curious is you can see the weekly doesn't really care at the moment. It's saying, no, guys, we're not that excited about that. So that is the action we're seeing here with the NASDAQ 100, or on Dukascopy, it's referred to as the Tech 100. And we'll put that up there for you. Here it is right here on Dukascopy. The Tech 100 index. Right underneath the S&P 500 index. You can see the weakness that's been in there. And that is it right there. Then we take a look at the S&P 500. And there's the Tech 100 if you're interested in trading that. Dukascopy does have it. And then there you go. You can see here, this is the S&P 500. They put it into a sell there, but it's already back in the saddle again. Look at this thing. It just doesn't want to let go. Now they've put in data that made yesterday into a buy. Oh, good Lord. Look at that. It's digging in and saying, no, thank you. We're British. No, I mean, it's basically saying, we want to be long. Or you be wrong. Be long or be wrong. That's exactly what they would say down in the hood. And that is what it comes down to. And let's save that. And then, what was really curious is the one that led this whole thing, with the GameStops and all like that, the Russell. And let's put a refresh to that. And you can see that is fighting the sell also. Look at that. It's like the Dow Jones. It refuses to go into a sell. Money is coming in. Just remember, traders, things go up when there's more buyers than sellers, and vice versa. We don't really need to save that. No one's actually paying attention to it. The only other one that everybody's paying attention to is the Dow Jones. right there. And as you can see, it is holding up. Look at that. You know, it's not going down at all. This doesn't even care at all. It won't even challenge the weekly. So the grand lady of the indices themselves, the what they call a divisor based index, is looking at this market and saying, all time highs, baby, all time highs. Transaction tax, we don't need no stinking transaction tax. We got Dow Jones Industrial Average. It don't care. You can see they tried selling it down twice, and it found ways to close higher. Again, more buyers than sellers. The answer is usually something will go up in value. More sellers than buyers, and something will go down in value. And so that is the action of it all. Far out, huh? And so let's see now. Let's jump back to currencies now that we've taken a look at what moves the world every day. And this is how they transact it through these currencies. So let's see, ruble again. Now I saw something, I saw something today that was very positive for the ruble in the news. We always think that this shouldn't be 73. We think it should be like, 63 or 53. I really think the product should be much lower. We'll see as time goes on. But you can see here there's pressure on it today. We saw this all week long. The weekly sell has been under since Monday. Lots of pressure there. And so the ruble's just kind of cruising along in this big channel. Let's put it up on J4X. J4X is so easy to identify the bigger trend. I mean, when you're looking at it physically. Dollar ruble right there. And you can see this is going back to November, December, nice sideways action. It's not really going too far. I mean, look at it, 77s and 70. Is it even 70? Not even. It's 74, 73. I mean, the range itself, let's put it in as a monthly, the range is relatively mild at this point. It's been locked in a steady range for, I guess, like 6 months. This is that's back to 15. Let's just look at it over the last 6 months. You can see here it's been in the mid 70s. Pretty much did chase 8, back in November. But I mean, overall, it's pretty quiet. Only 3 or 4, points overall, which is, kind of rare. I mean, look at the way the Turkish Lira went from 1.5 to 8.5. This thing's been bouncing around just 3 handles compared to, Turkish Lira has fallen from 8.5 down to 7. So I mean, it's kind of impressive, this. But we always think that this has great potential. That's why just like the way we look at England and say it should be in the 40s. It should be in the high 30s, mid 40s, something like that when it comes to the cable dollar. And it's the same thing with the ruble. It should be much lower. There's so much more financial potential there. They're giving away a lot. All right. And then the Yenski. There's the Yenski, dollar yen. You can see trying to come up today, picking it up. Pick it up. And it's just lifting up in there. And there it is there. Did I show you the ruble? You couldn't see. Did you see the ruble all the way? Let's just double check that. Because there it is there all week long playing with the sell there. Now it's going to do this. Let's see if it goes and where could it go from here? Maybe it'll go challenge these lows here in the low 70s. Maybe it'll give us a nice little sell-off. Wouldn't that be nice if we get into a weekly sell and we see how this went for like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. What is that? Did that go into a sell there? 18? So I guess we might have gone 18 and then gone into a weekly sell here, back into a weekly buy, and then back into a weekly sell. Let's put one in there. I think that's what that did. Yeah, negative Z60, And negative. Oh, I see what happened. See how plot 6 is a positive? It's not a negative. So it did survive that buy. That's why. And then it went into the sell. So you can see here this nice little downdraft. Sometimes you get into something like this. This was good. Just caught it. Now here we go into a sell, and we go into a daily buy, and it pops right back up. And maybe how they have to take them up to take them down. That's maybe what we're seeing here. So maybe the ruble is going to make its little dash now on the downside. All right, where was that? I was looking at the yen. Let's go back to the yen. There's the yen, and we're seeing here the yen trying to perk up again, but we're in a weekly buy anyway. So being in that weekly buy, that automatically puts the pressure on it to begin with. And so now that's a winner chicken dinner thing to do. So in other words, you see here we were in a buy. And in this case here, no buy there, no buy there, because that's red right there. Right? Is that it, or is that there? That's a buy. And then it pushes you right back into the sell. So there's a loss right there. And then it pushes you into a buy, and it's buku. It means a lot in Vietnamese. That's a buku win. And then it tells you to take a little profit. And then buku win again right here. So there's 2 out of 3. Not bad. And now we're going after another one. So I guess maybe the yen's going to have some life in it. That would be interesting to see, is the yen having some life in it. I wonder how that... I saw that they they have a minister of lonely now. They created a minister of lonely because they're concerned that with all these lockdowns, that there's people are having issues. So there's a minister of loneliness. I love that. Far out. All right. Is that Cupid? Minister of Loneliness? I don't know. They could call him the Cupid Minister. All right. And so, let's see. We've gotten most of these guys. What have we not looked at? We looked at the Zloty Euro. It's the Polish currency. That's so strong all the time. I think they pushed it into a daily buy there yesterday. I mean, when it goes, it's not going anywhere to begin with. It's not like it's an explosive thing, It kind of hangs out. It doesn't exactly explode into like, oh my God, it's going to go to 5.5 or something like that from 4.5. It's such a solid currency. Let's see, what else we got laying around here? Oh, we looked at this. This was interesting. This was a 9 out of 10 wins. The GBP JPY out of our mathematics. That's really cool. So that's really nice and firm also. Let's see, what else can we stare at in the currencies? No one's saying anything today. I guess like middle of the week, everybody's like, oh man, I'm exhausted. Let's see, what do we have here? There's an Aussie CAD. There's a CAD yen. Let's see what the peso is doing. Peso is a buy. And that last buy has been a winner chicken dinner. That was a nice one too. And so this is 2-0 right here since the weekly buy. That was so cool. If I wasn't doing Paul Dirac, I'm trying to put something together for string theory this year. I registered for the string conference in June, July. It's 2 weeks this year because it's zoomed. No one's showing up physically, or very few are showing up physically, and so it's a dead of winter in San Pablo. So I'm thinking about putting something in on the Gong show or possibly the art exhibit. I can't figure out which one. One thing's for sure, we're not going to show you the math, so it's not going to be on. I'm not going to do a presentation, but I could get away with doing something really interesting that could stir some minds. Do I dare? Does Doc dare to freak out the string community? I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. We'll see. All right, so there's the peso, and peso is trying to break down, but the weekly is very firm in here. Let's see what else is there. Ooh, let's see what the South African rand is doing against the dollar. That's breaking down, so we can put a sell right there, and we've been in a daily sell right there. Interesting product, the rand, interesting economy. It still has a half decent constitution, as much as they're trying to tear it apart. Constitutional government is so important, but since Mandela, they've slowly whittled it at it, and I guess at this point, the ANC is trying its best to throw it away altogether. All right. I think they want to be a communist country or a socialist country, to be equally a poor nation like the rest of them in Africa that are socialist. What other product can we look at here? I have a desire to look at that CAD yen. Let's take a look at it. It's been in a buy from here. Cool. Let's see how the buys have been on the daily. You can see that's the last time we looked at this thing is back in here. So there was a buy. That was a winner chicken dinner. And put a sell into it. And then it gave us a buy there. It was a loss. So 1 for 1. Then another loss. 2 losses. So 1 to 2. And then off to the moon Alice with that rampage, which makes back the losses for this and that. And so now it's 2 and 2. And then it is right there. Another winner chicken dinner. And can't go into a sell there, can it? Yes, it did. Because that's the sell there. And it's back in the buy again. Oh, let's see what that is. This is what, 3. Okay, yep. So it goes into a sell there. And then it goes back into the buy. So this has not been too much fun, has it? But it's more profitable, that's for sure, than losses. But it does shake you up, that's for sure. Right there, let's make that a red. And there's a red. And then let's put a red in right there. And then a red, right, red, one. What is that? That is a plus. There's the minus right there. And I guess that's the, what was that, a green? Ah, there it is right there. Let's do that. And so there it is. So it's a winner, but it's a tough winner, isn't it? It puts you into like 3 bad trades, but the 5 good trades are winner chicken dinners. 1 win, 2 win, loss. Not a loss. This is the loss right there. So 2 to 1. 2 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 2, 4 to 2, and now to 2. So it's not too bad. Maybe it'll get to 7 or 8 to 2, something like that. Get right back to its mathematical mean of 8.5 out of 10. So there we are. That is the CAD yen, which is something we rarely look at, but you know, it's a currency webinar that we try to understand the whole world, and for sure, that is part of it. And that is the name of the game. All right. I don't see any questions today at all, so that's pretty chill, isn't it? There we go. All right. Let's drift over to another currency. I want to see. Oh, let me save this too. In case someday someone says, "Hey, I'd like to look at CAD yen." I won't have to fill out everything. Let's see. I know we looked at the Aussie because people have been talking about it. You know, we've been in a weekly buy now on Aussie since for 17 weeks. And it has some really nice trending things go on here too, which is really cool. So it went into the winner chicken dinner here, and then the buy here again. Another winner chicken dinner. There's 2 wins right there. Let's see what that is. There's a win there. And then, what is that? Is that that? I think that's that, isn't it? It looks like it. So let's put that as a buy and then a sell. We'll tighten this up too while no one's asking questions. So buy. I think it's moved over one actually. Well, what it is since it's a red and a green, you buy it there, it goes up. And if you have a stop on underneath it, obviously it's a win. If you don't do good money management, then it's a loss. And so then it's right there, I guess it is. That's the sell. And then, let's see, but you can't take a short, of course, because it's in a buy. And then it's a buy again here. And then there's your sell again. I think the sell was like right there. And then we throw the last buy in like right there. So lots of winner. Hey, middle age, what's shaking? The grains look like they want to go up again. I know. Did you see where soybeans went into a weekly sell last week? And what do they do? They're flipping right back into the buy again. There's another rip your face off article that's always floating around about grains, you know. Let's take a look at that. Let's close that. And let's open up the grains. There we go. As you can see, I can see, we can see, we all can see. There's the cattles. That's cattle of April of 22. We've been keeping a track on that for a Texas farmer. That is battling around. Let's move that down. It does not, they don't want to sell that, that's for sure, does it? He only lost 6 head of cattle out of like 3,000, so that's really cool from that storm. Now, there is the... Now that's curious. You know, you see what's going on in the other one, and here you can see April cattle moving down. You can see the front end month having pressure at the moment. Now let's take a look at soybeans. I just wanted to see where the cattle were. So there's May beans. May beans went into a sell last week, and they are screaming their way through the buy again. Curious in this sense, it went into a sell, and but it was in a daily buy, and then I guess this would be Monday morning. You know, it goes into a daily sell, and then the next day it pushes itself into the buy right here, and we're above the line here, so you know not to be short, of course. And you can even flirt with a long if you're short-term trading and using the right product. And look at that gap today. Wow. They don't want to let that go, do they? What's that, the grains? Yeah. I think what did we put up there yesterday? I think we put something up there yesterday on grains, didn't we? Didn't we, Robin? On bar chart? And then let's take a look at the March contract. Right there. That's doing the same thing. Matter of fact, I don't think that even... Yeah, okay. So this was in a sell from here. Finally gets into the sell there. It actually goes down as a winner-winner chicken dinner. And then we're now on the close of this and the opening of this bar last night. It's a buy. So, you know, short-term buy there. So that's cool. It's showing life in it too. They don't want to let, you know, we've talked about the relationship between dollar-denominated products and currencies. In other words, commodities. A dollar-denominated oil or, you know, grains or, you know, bonds. You take your choice. But in the end result is that they are something. Was it soybeans we did yesterday? That's right. I think we were talking. We put the no contract up there, didn't we? So we were like looking at the no contract, which is trading, I guess, about $1. Here, we'll take a look and see. I think it's like $1. This is the March contract, right? So it's getting ready to go out the door. This is old crop, and then here it is. There's November, so it's trading at 14.21, and you can see November of this year, the new crop is trading at 12.29. So it's two full dollars underneath. Rob and I talk about it as like, which one's going to catch up? You know, who's going to catch up? That's what we wonder. Who will be the one that catches up? Will the March catch up to November, or will November catch up with March? I get a feeling it's going to be the November. So, you can see that strength there. There's a definite front-end demand going on there. So you got the contango, where the back month is lower, which normally is usually higher. Contango, that's what they call that. Isn't that cute? Contango. And then there's the hoggies. Hogs are, you know, front-end hogs are looking very firm compared to front-end cattle. Let's refresh that too. There you go. It's not in a weekly sell. It's not even threatening a weekly sell, and now it's jumping back into the daily buy again. Speaking of which, we had ham hocks and cabbage last night for dinner. That was kind of cool. Oh yeah, very kosher. Let's see, what do we got right there? And then corn. Corn flirted with a sell there last week, but refused. And it's in a daily buy with all this squiggly stuff going on because it's a gas 3.5 right there, not just a 3. Whereas this would have put it into the sell. And then now that would be going into the buy right here. Instead, it's still in a buy. The beta in corn is low. That's why I use a 3.5. It needs to be extentuated. And that is March corn. And then we're looking at deck corn, which is the new crop right there. That's not looking back. Look at it. It's in a buy from here, not doing anything but up, up, and away in its beautiful, beautiful balloon. Look at that. It's been in a buy since the cows came home back in August when they came in to get milked. My goodness, this thing's been in a buy since August. And let's see that. Let's see. It's around here somewhere. That'd be deck corn. Right there. Interesting stuff. Anybody want to see anything particular? We've done silver and gold. We can do it again. We've done the stock indices. We can do it again. How about that Dow? That Dow hasn't even looked back. I mean, it got weak during the week or during the trading day, but it refuses. It's just acting very, very, very firm. Only way to describe that. And wheat seems to be coming back to life also. Look at that, middle age. Look at wheat. Oh, you know what we should do is we should check out your coffee. How did coffee act the rest of the day yesterday? Let's take a look at that. Coffee Olay. Right there. Oh, it held up very well, didn't it? And it's still zooming again today. Is that today? Today's what, the 24th? So let's refresh that. I'm confused. That's 23rd. That's 22nd. Okay. So it's been in a buy from here. All week long it's been in a buy since from here. You know, because of the green line being and the white being through. So it's a short-term long. It has been a winner, especially if you're using good stops. Yeah, I can see that. Huh. Interesting. There's buyers out there. Well, we're heading towards what, you know, we're going into the fall, right? In Brazil. So I guess they're getting paranoid. You know, they've seen what happened to Texas. I guess they're probably thinking, uh-oh, what's going to happen to us? I have an order to take some profits at 140 on iced coffee calls. Okay, that makes sense. Uh-huh. Yeah, you know, that's what's going on there. I bet they're looking at Texas and wondering, uh-oh, what kind of stuff we're going to get. Last year they got hit hard, didn't they? I'm almost sure of that, right? So if they got hit hard last year and now they see what happened to Texas, they're thinking like, oh, damn. I'm not giving away my beans for nothing, that's for sure. Well, what's that, Robin says? Robin says, if temps increase just 2 degrees, it will cut coffee output tremendously. Wow. You mean it gets too warm, huh? That's like not good, huh? That's a bummer. Don't want that, that's for sure. And so that would make some sense. You know, the concerns of the bean people. Wow, that is something. So, yeah, I mean that's why farmers should be using binaries and options all the time, because there's no doubt about it. The you know, selling the future forward contract, as they call it, is basically selling your crop, and that's no fun. I mean, the whole idea is, you know, you're taking all that risk. You want to benefit from the action, you know. Coffee Olay, rocking and rolling. All right. I don't know. We have anything else floating around here? See anything else we should talk about? Feeders are playing around with the weekly sell too. It's almost like an engine. You know, when one thing is going one direction, something else is moving in another direction, but they're all really going forward. They're not going backwards, that's for sure. It just seems like it's constantly finding ways to go higher. Every time they go into a sell, they find a way to go right back into the buy again. It really does. It really does scream like, don't be short commodities. They find a way to drive them up all the time. Like here, you can see wheat went into a weekly sell here on the Kansas City / Minneapolis red wheat. I mean, here it is battling its way right back again, just like the Chicago wheat, the white wheat, right there, did the same. It had been in a sell since here, and now it's trying to battle its way back up into a buy. So they're not exactly throwing this stuff away. Let's put it that way. And that seems to be the recipe in the end. So, all right, traders. What else we got to say about that? And if not, I guess we will call it a day. So, happy trails to you until we meet again Thursday. Happy trails to you, to all my cyber trading friends.